One is the study of human behavior, and second is the study of mental processes. Human behavior is visible, observable, it is covert and overt. Whereas mental processes are many, and all mental processes together forms a mindset. And this mindset becomes a part of your personality. And then your functions or your behavior, your thoughts and your emotions are governed by this mindset. There are a n number of mental processes which you are going to study in 6 subjects, and even in practical you will study it. Now, what is lifespan? I have given a simple view of definition of psychology. Two things you have to remember. It is a scientific study of human behavior, and it is a scientific study of mental processes related to human behavior. That is enough. Rest detail you can study in various subjects. And what is lifespan? Lifespan are actually periods. Periods of change. The change of your mindset actually. The change of mental processes and change of behavior. So many psychologists, many researchers have worked a lot, and they have defined, discussed, described various lifespans period in the life of an individual. The most generalized lifespan periods are prenatal, that is from when you are in the womb of the mother for 9 months, that is called as prenatal period. The second lifespan period is infancy period, that is from birth to 2 years. This period is different. It means some kind of change has occurred in mental processes, some kind of change has occurred in your behavior, in individual behavior of an infant. Then from 3 years to 10 years or say 9 years, period of childhood. So in childhood, your mindset, your mental processes and your behavior will be different. That is given as a different period. The next is adolescence age period, that is from 10-11 years to 17-18 years. Again, your mental processes, your mindset and the behavior is changed. So adolescence period is a different period. Then then adulthood period, it is the longest period, from 20 years to 60 years. 20 years to death. Divided into 3 parts, or rather 4 parts. A new research which is just published in 2015, it says that 4 parts of adulthood. The first is called as a younghood, that is 18 to 25 years. Then 21 to 40 years is called as early adulthood period. Then 40 to 60 years is called as middle adulthood period. And then 60 onward, it is late adulthood period. But again, in late adulthood, there are two distinct, there is a differentiation. One is Late adulthood is easy, normal, and whereas late adulthood is with aging. मतलब लेट एडल्टहुड बुढ़ापे के साथ आना और लेट एडल्टहुड बगैर बुढ़ापे के आना, ये दो अलग अलग स्टेजेस हम लाइफ स्पैन में देखते हैं. ये जनरल क्लासिफिकेशन है लाइफ स्पैन पीरियड का. इरिक्सन ने, पियाजे ने इसी पीरियड में कुछ चेंजेस बताए हैं, एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू दोज चेंजेस they have designed their theory, famous theories. The theory of psychosocial development of Erikson, very well known theory, very useful and practicable. Again, Piaget's theory is theory of development of intelligence, again very well known theory. That theory is also called as theory of cognitive development. Now, what I want to tell you, that how this lifespan goes ahead, that is recorded in one small 5-minute video. So I want you to see that video. And then after I will proceed with the PPT. I have just given you a broad summary of lifespan and explain you the definition of psychology. Just watch this video. So this subject is named as lifespan psychology. Another name for this subject is developmental psychology. Is it audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will proceed. Now, first we'll understand what is lifespan and what is psychology. We'll understand what is development and what is psychology. Lifespan and development are words not similar, but for this subject it is used simultaneously. Some people will call it as lifespan psychology, some people will call it as developmental psychology. In some book, the word developmental psychology is given. Now, what is lifespan and what is development? Development is continuous change, and lifespan means periodic change. Development is continuous change and lifespan means periodic change. So the lifespan psychology or developmental psychology can be defined as continuous as well as periodic changes in the life of individual. Life begins in the womb of the mother and life ends with the death of the person. Now, what I mean by life begins in the womb of the mother, what it means? It means there is every animal is capable to reproduce. When there is a copulation between male and female, a female emits the egg and male emits the sperm. Now, sperm and egg is united in fallopian tube, and the united single cell is further shifted to womb of the mother.
it get attached to the womb, and then it continuously develop. It continuously grow from one cell to multiple cells. Now, after union of sperm and egg, on the day of 14, on 14th day, first brain cell is formed in the multiple group of the cell, that is called as zygote. So in the zygote, first cell is formed, that is brain cell, which is called as neuron, and that is really a beginning of the life. And this way, development continue till for 9 months. And as this 9 month means period of 38 week is over, a baby take a birth. Now this period of 38 week or say 9 months is called as prenatal period. And when we study this prenatal period from the developmental point of view, we are studying first lifespan of the individual. And which is that first lifespan? It is prenatal period. Means a period of 9 months, 9 days. Period of 38 weeks. So when we study a prenatal period, we study a lifespan. And when we study it in detail, right from the union of sperm and egg, transferring of single cell into fallopian tube, and from fallopian tube to womb of the mother, we study the developmental part of the individual. So that is the difference between development and lifespan. Lifespan in single line, it is a period, and development is continuous change. I hope you understood it.
So I have tried to explain you precisely the meaning of lifespan and the meaning of the development. Lifespans are period and development is continuous change. It can be periodic change also. It is not only, there is a continuous change as well as it is periodic change also. Same thing which I have already explained. It is written here. Lifespan are periods from conception to death of the human being. Development is continuous process of growth and maturation of physical and psychological character in each lifespan and across the lifespan. Broadly, lifespan are prenatal, infancy, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and aging. Prenatal period is broadly of 38 weeks in womb of mother. Infancy is 2 years period from birth to 2 years. Childhood, adolescence, and adulthood are further divided into early, middle, and late. Means early childhood, middle childhood, late childhood. Early adulthood, middle adulthood, late adulthood. Early adolescence age, middle adolescence age, and late adolescence age. Periods are given in book, so you can go through the period. Broadly, I told you the major period. And what is the concept of development? I have, in very short, I have explained you the concept, the meaning of the development. Now in your book, whatever material is given, I feel inadequate. So I must tell you how you can understand the development part. See, there are 4 aspects of development. One is formation of character. First is formation of character. Second is growth of character. Third is maturity of character. And fourth is continuous improvement of the character. Not necessarily that the fourth part will be continuous improvement. It can be deterioration also. In some characteristics, it can be deterioration also. Formation is a beginning of the character. If you consider intelligence as the character of your personality, so formation begins on the 14th day, 14वें दिन, 14th day after meeting of sperm and egg in a stage of embryo. Growth is continuous till 16 years. Growth is continuous till 16 years. But again, in a prenatal period, the growth is highest. In an infancy period, the growth little lower down. Growth of brain, I am talking about the growth of brain. In childhood, little down. And finally, in adolescence, the final growth takes place. Roughly 25% in a prenatal period, another 25% in an infancy period, and rest of the 50% in childhood and adolescence age. Adolescence age is itself a period of a maturity of intelligence. Why I am saying this, why I am making this statement, you will come to know later on. And then after 18 years of age, your fluid intelligence continuously deteriorate till death, and your crystallized intelligence continuously improves till death, till the age of 60-65 years. That is the theory of development of intelligence. So my idea is to explain you the concept of formation, growth, maturity, and improvement of a character. I have explained you with the help of example of intelligence. Now there are so many things written in your book that you can read, which I have captured here in my PPT also. Growth and development. There are many factors influences development of a personality of a children. They are family and family members, surrounding of the child, peer, teachers and neighbors, child experiences with parents, peers and teachers. Child is also influenced by the culture, religion, rituals, caste biases and in Indian society. Place of living, whether he is living in village or in tribal area or urban area or in metro city, and the kind of schooling received, that also affect the growth and development of the individual. Areas of growth and development. Categorically, if I want to say, physical development, psychological development, cognitive development, emotional development, social development, and spiritual development. Social, you can say socio-political development also. From my personal experiences, I am telling you, it is not only social development, it is socio-political development. What is given in book? Physical development is given, psychological development is given, cognitive growth is given. Children develop certain physical abilities during their progression towards adulthood, including crawling, walking, running. In fact, physical development is directly related to child's psychomotor coordination for large and fine muscles. In physical development, coordination of muscle system with neural system is very, very important. If that coordination has not occurred, person can be in many ways physically handicapped. Person can have a poor communication ability. person can be learning disabled, LD भी हो सकता है. So physical development and particularly neurons coordination with the muscles is must, and it happens naturally. For that, genes and suitable environment means heredity and nourishment is important. Psychological development. Psychological functions grows rapidly. Functions such as curiosity, manipulation, action tendencies, association, attraction, and affiliation. These are the main psychological functions which develops in our mind. And believe me, these 5 functions governs your entire life, which is not taught in any book. It is taught only in psychology, in lifespan particularly. Curiosity, manipulation, action potential, association, attraction, and affiliation. Actually, attraction and affiliation one and the same thing. Cognition, growth cognition. As the sensory organs grow rapidly, their coordination with each other and information processing improves. There is a continuous progressive change in perception, memorization, reasoning, intellect of the individual. This cognitive growth you are going to study in very much detail in cognitive psychology. Psychological growth mainly you will study in lifespan. The social aspect of growth you will study in advanced social psychology. And development of your mindset you are going to study in personality actually. Personality theories. Which are the areas of growth? Social development. Now, some psychological concept like self-concept, ego strength, personal identity, self-esteem, these are formed, grow, and mature at certain point of time of life. The period is different. The time of your age is also different. Self-concept begins with the birth of the person. Formation of intelligence begins in the womb of the mother at the 7th month of the 7th month when the baby is in the womb. Self-concept formation begins with the birth. Ego strength, normally ego 3rd or 4th month. Again, there is a conflict, there is a debate among the psychologists whether it is 3rd month or 4th month. Some have claimed 2nd month also. Personal identity. Personal identity formation begins with early childhood. Self-esteem begins with birth. These are the various characters very much useful in society. That's why it must be developed very well. Emotional growth. Emotions, all of you can understand emotions. Most important two emotions are fear and love. 80% people born in this society are fearful, and 20% people, roughly, I am telling you the rough estimate, they are lovely. They are governed by the love instinct, and 80% are governed by fear instinct. जो सबसे ज्यादा भगवान की पूजा करते हैं वो सबसे ज्यादा डरपोक लोग होते हैं. ये मेरा एज अ साइकोलॉजिस्ट मानना है. Sexuality and gender identity. Now, sexuality is psychologically understood with the beginning of with the end of the infancy stage and with the beginning of the childhood stage. In childhood onward, a male develops a few feminine characters and female may develop some masculine characters. Sexuality, femininity versus masculinity, and gender identity, these are two different aspects which we have to understand in detail in future. A male can be feminist, a female can be masculine, but gender wise, male is male, female is female, transgender is transgender. Again, in transgender, there are two classes, female transgender and male transgender. critical period. This is a very important concept which you have to understand. During maturational stage in a lifespan of an organism, during which the nervous system is specially sensitive to certain environmental stimuli. What it means? This much is given in your book, but I must explain you in detail what it means. It is proved that our entire body formation and body growth and body development is the result of genes. It is inherited from parent. How tall you will be decided by the genes which you have received from your mother and which you have received from your father. Nourishment, nurturing, and the role of environment is also there, but it is minimum. It is minimal. Earlier psychologists were thinking that environment affects largely to the growth, physical growth. But now the present research has proved that it is the genes which are maximum responsible for the height, weight, health of a person, particularly for physical. आपका चेहरा कैसा रहेगा, आपका कलर कैसा रहेगा, आपका आई कलर कैसा रहेगा, आपकी नाक कैसे रहेगी और आपका हेड कैसा रहेगा, ये पैरेंटल जीन और मैटरनल जीन से आपको मिलता है. Now, what is critical period? A certain psychological character. I am not now talking about the physical character. It is true for physical character, it is true for emotional character, for every character it is true. But I am just taking example of a psychological character. A certain psychological character has its particular time to grow rapidly and mature very rapidly. If the growth is not properly nurtured at the time of its maturational time, the growth can remain further completely incomplete throughout the life. Means if, for example, I must take the example, teenage I will take. One can understand the teenage. What happens in teenage? In female and male, sexual sex is genetically the human being is genetically becomes ready to mature in terms of the sex organs, reproductive organs. And if this period is lost, and if these reproductive organs are not appropriately matured, then later on after 15, 16, it will be very difficult to attain the appropriate maturity. So for maturity of reproductive organ, teenage, age from 8 to 12 is very, very critical. And such period is called as critical period. Same, the difficult period and critical period, these are the synonyms actually. Now we'll come to the first stage. We have 10-15 minutes more. So I will try to complete the first stage. Even I want to complete the PPT. I have 5 PPTs to teach you. Instead of reading, I will simply show. Prenatal period consists of 3 stages: zygote, embryo, and fetus. Now look how the zygote can look like. This is the zygote. when it is transmitted from fallopian tube to the womb of the mother, it looks like this. The zygotic period is of only 2 weeks or 14 days, you can say. Embryo is particularly a period of tissue differentiation. And what is the meaning of tissue differentiation? In our body, we have a tissues as much as we have the organs. Like we have different tissues for intestine, we have a different tissues for our brain, we have a different tissues for our bones, we have a different tissues for skin, we have a different tissues for muscles. So this tissue differentiation occurs in a period of embryo. Embryo period is of 6 weeks. Embryo will look like this. By the end of the 8th week, teeny eyes, head, heart, spine, a raw spine, limbs, umbilical cord, and a small tail also is visible in the womb of the mother. Then come to fetus. The rest of the 30-week period is of fetus period. Finally, when baby is grown in the womb of the mother, she can be look like this. Can I enlarge? Yes, I can. No, enlarge function is not functioning well. Now, by that time, you might have read this. Germination. Again, the period of zygote is called as germination. The period of embryo is called as embryonic stage, and period of fetus is called as fetus stage. Germination begins with multiplication of conceived cell of sperm and ovule. First brain cell is formed on 12th day. Embryonic stage begins with development of placenta and umbilical cord. Formation of heart and eyes, multiplication of brain cells. Heart of limb starts heart of 1 inch. Heart of 1 inch start beating in 9th week. Fetus of 3 inch with formation of face and body. I don't think I have this. No. I have some another picture to show you. People of human development can understand it very well. These are the born baby, zygote, embryonic, and fetus stage. All these photos are available on Google. You can see many photos. Some important photo I am showing you. This is a newly born baby. I have just explained you the concept of formation, growth, and maturation and the development. So I will just read it. Formation, beginning of a new character, whether it is physiological, psychological, or emotional, any. And all characters simultaneously form in the mind of the person. Growth, it is a multiplication and growth of shape with shape and size. When any character grows with shape and size, in case of physical, it is shape and size. In case of psychological character, it grows from low to high. It grows from mild to moderate and then at best level. So when we say about some psychological character, the word we use are different. When we say about the physical character, the words are different. Now maturation. It can't cause a psychological or physical function to occur. It only sets the limits on which earlier time of its formation. I already explained you. Development, it is a complex and interdisciplinary phenomena. Biological, psychological, emotional, socio-cultural, and lifespan forces produces development of traits or characters in human mind. Then infancy period from birth to 2 years. How development takes place physically, cognitively, and language wise also. Physical development, body weight doubles in 6 months and triples in 1 year. Psychologically, mind begins to develop functions like love, trust, ego identity, ego strength, attachment, smile, anger, and fear. This period is hazard prone also. There are many dangers which can be invited in this period, and that is why many kind of disorder can be acquired by a infant, particularly communication disorder or learning disorder, cognitive development, or even mental retardation. Now mental retardation word is now replaced in by APA, that is called as intellectual impairment. The mental retardation word will not be used in future. Now the word has to be used as intellectual impairment. Cognitive development takes place in 6 stages so that infant begins to memorize object, events, individuals, and situation. Then the linguistic development. It is nothing but formation, growth, and maturation of mother tongue. Infant acquires phoneme, semantics, grammar through imitation and cognitive process. So there are 2 processes to understand the language, to acquire the language. One is imitation and second is cognition. Imitation, they just do the duplicate behavior of their mother, father, brother, sister, neighbor, or peer. Cognition, whatever the duplication of the behavior is learned, they think on it and they modify in the mind and a new behavior is formed. That is called as cognitive change. Together, it is called as social cognition. ये concept को बाद में बंडूरा ने social cognition बोला है. Early childhood period 5 to 6 years. There are some characteristics, some hazards, and some part of physical development. It is given in well detail in your book. That's why I am not able to narrate in very limited time. Now, what are the important characteristics of early childhood? Behavioral issues like disobedience, obstinity, stubbornness, that occurs. Now, in DSM-5, the APA has named it as there is one group of disorder and it has given a typical name that is called as disruptive character. All these are disruptive character which can be seen during the period of 3 to 6 years. Hazards. There are many hazards. There are many dangers invited during the 3 to 6 years of the period. That is illness, accident, obesity, speech disorder, social hazards like failing to communicate, failing to play, issues like isolation, rejection by peers, moral issues like failing to understand the analogy and behavioral relationship. Physical development, an individual grow by height, weight, body build, motor skill, development of neural system and brain is at the fastest speed during this. It is at fastest during infancy, but then again in childhood, lots of brain size is acquired. Almost 25 to 30% of brain size is acquired. Now, I will end this session with explaining you, with just showing you theory of Erik Erikson. It is psycho-social development theory. Erik Erikson has given age, the kind of conflict in mind, the kind of virtues, guna, जिसको हिंदी में गुण बोलते हैं, kind of virtue develops in our mind, and what are the implication in the old age. If hope will develop, what will happen? If will develop, what will happen? And if this is not developed, the person will be called as the person will be termed as ineffective, inefficient, incompetent. Development of these virtues are very, very important during this period. Again, period is important. Now, what is the period? Infancy, 0 to 1 year, early childhood, 1 to 3 year, play age 3 to 6 years, school age 6 to 12 years, adolescence 12 to 19 years, early adulthood 20 to 25 years, adulthood 26 to 64 years, and old age 65 to death. Now, which virtues are developed in our mindset? I will not explain you about the conflict. I will explain the conflict in the next session because that takes a lot of time. It takes around 20-25 minutes. Infancy, hope is developed. Early childhood, will is developed. Play age, purpose is developed. School age, competence is developed. Adolescence, fidelity is developed. Early adulthood, love is developed. Adulthood, care is developed. And old age, wisdom is developed. Now, this development is based on the kind of conflict, challenges are faced by the baby or a child at that particular stage of the life. How this conflict will be faced, how that challenges comes to mind, in which form it comes, that I will explain you by one of my video. Now, I will allow you to watch this video and I will end this session.
Erikson stage model. This is also called as Erikson stage theory of psychosocial development. Now, this theory is given in 8 stages. What happens during infancy? What happens during early childhood? What happens during play age? What happens during school age? What happens during adolescence age? Early adulthood, old age. Now, Erikson says that from birth to 1 year, there is a conflict in the mind of the infant, whom to trust. And the baby first time trusts to the mother who feed the baby. Then the baby also trusts to the person who protects and who secured the baby, because a baby is helpless at that time. So any kind of threat, any kind of loud sound, any kind of hazard, any kind of action which is fearful is going to create a mistrust in the mind of the infant. आप देख लेना, बच्चे जब 6 महीने से 1 साल के दरमियान रहते हैं, अधिकतर बच्चे, कोई नया आदमी जब उनके घर में आता है तो अपने माँ के पल्लू को पकड़कर उनके पीछे छुपने की कोशिश करते हैं। अधिकतर बच्चे, कुछ बच्चे पहले बार जो नया आदमी आता है, दूसरे बार नहीं, दूसरे बार उसका फेस उसको आइडेंटिफाई हो जाता है। सो ये जो पहले बार छुपने का कारण है, ये मिसट्रस्ट है, और नहीं छुपा तो ट्रस्ट। अब ये इरिक्सन का जो ट्रस्ट और मिसट्रस्ट है ना, वो नहीं है जो आप अपने पर्सनल लाइफ में समझते हैं। और इसका परिणाम क्या होता है? द वर्च्यू विच इज डेवलप्ड इज होप। जिस गुण का विकास हमारे माइंड में होता है उसको होप बोलते हैं। And if hope is developed, in old age there is some kind of impact on the mind, and that impact in old age, appreciation of interdependence and relatedness, means the person at the old age is able to appreciate the phenomena of interdependence. वो मानता है कि हम एक दूसरे पर निर्भर करते हैं और every phenomena is relative. Relatedness and interdependence is very important in old age. Particularly जो लोग adult होते हैं, adult behavior करते हैं, उनका स्वभाव, उनके behavior में ये phenomena होना चाहिए। And वो phenomena आता है hope से, और hope आती है trust से। That is the meaning. और इसकी फॉर्मेशन और इसकी ग्रोथ 1 साल तक हो जाती है, 0 to 1। बाद में जो है मैच्योरिटी आगे में आ सकती है और इम्प्रूवमेंट भी आगे में हो सकता है, बट फॉर्मेशन एंड ग्रोथ by the end of 1 year is over, and once certain level is attained, changing it becomes very difficult. So if mistrust is developed, I have seen the cases of highest level of mistrust in which the boy at the age of 18 years at all does not believe on father or mother for some reason which he has faced during the birth to 1 year.
So thank you very much. I will stop sharing, and now if you have some questions you can ask me. If you are interested to watch this kind of video, you go to YouTube and just type BTCA Nagpur 10. So you will get video of all subjects, whichever while delivering, whichever I deliver best, I just cut that video and I put it on the YouTube. So I will request all of you to go to YouTube and read many of such videos. Watch, you can understand, you can watch, you can understand it, and if you like it, subscribe it. There is no charges for subscription. My subscription number will go up, that's all. But there is no force, no जबरदस्ती, किसी को करना ही है ऐसा कुछ नहीं, ना भी करे तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। Any question?
Thank you for your beautiful lecture, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks latter, question first. सवाल, मैं बहुत सवाल इनवाइट करता हूँ स्टूडेंट से। मैं ये समझना चाहता हूँ, दरअसल मेरा जो इंसाइट है इस सब्जेक्ट का वो बहुत थोड़ा ऊपर चला गया है, स्टूडेंट का थोड़ा नीचे रहता है, तो कई बार मैं मैच नहीं करता, बट मेरी इच्छा है कि मैं उनसे मैच करूं, उनको उनकी भाषा में समझाने की कोशिश करूं। तो सवाल पूछने पर मुझे समझता है कि आपको क्या नहीं समझा या क्या समझाना जरूरी है।
सर वो जो आपने बताया था फेमिनिटी और मस्कुलिनिटी, उसका यानी करंट सिचुएशन से क्या यानी एलजीबीटीक्यू जैसे है, उससे क्या रिलेटेड अपन सोच सकते हैं, जेंडर और उसमें क्या क्या डिफरेंस हो सकता है और कोई किस एज में वो करते हैं?
आपका सवाल काफी बड़ा है, मैं बहुत शॉर्ट में इसको एक्सप्लेन करता हूं। अगर हम 4 प्रकार के जेंडर की बात करते हैं, मेल, फीमेल, मेल ट्रांसजेंडर एंड फीमेल ट्रांसजेंडर। सो ये जो कैरेक्टर्स है, फिजिकल कैरेक्टर्स, ये जेनेटिक ही है, जीन्स का ही इंपैक्ट होता है, जेनेटिकली ही उनके शरीर में आते हैं। अब उसके कई रीजंस होते हैं, बहुत साइंटिफिकली नहीं जाना चाहता मैं, कई बार म्यूटेशन, जीन म्यूटेशन से भी होता है, लेकिन साइकोलॉजिकली a male can acquire a female characteristics over a period of time, उसको फेमिनिटी बोलते हैं। मीन्स फेमिनिज्म एंड मस्कुलिनिज्म is a psychological characteristics, is a state of psychology, is a state of our mentality. It has nothing to do with the gender. A male can have a masculine male can have a feminine character, and a female can have a masculine character. Even a transgender can have a masculine character. So having psychological characteristics in our mindset, that is a different aspect than the physical characteristics which are gender based. तो ये दोनों चीजें अलग अलग होती हैं। और कोई सवाल? So I feel there is no question. I also have to attend one client now, but she has not yet come. So if you have a question, you can ask.
Sir, at what age this masculinity and feminism develops mostly?
There is no fixed age of such development. Normally, what is observed actually, as the male grow by age, male is basically considered as a masculine person. So as he grow by age, more feminine characters are added in his personality. This is normal, huh? Abnormally तो कुछ भी हो सकता है. More feminine characters are added. As female, particularly from the adolescence age के बाद, as female grows by age, more masculine characters are added to the female mindset, to the female in her mindset.
सर इसका क्या एग्जांपल हो सकता है? क्या परेशानी होगी आपको?
एग्जाम्पल
तो पूरा वहां से पूछते हो, वहां पे वो फेंकती पानी आपको।
आपके सराउंडिंग में बहुत एग्जाम्पल मिलेंगे, आप गौर से देखिएगा, गौर से। हस्बैंड वाइफ में, जिन हस्बैंड वाइफ में झगड़े होते हैं शादी होने के बाद में, और आपको मालूम है, आपके रिश्तेदार हो सकते हैं, आपके नेबर हो सकते हैं, आपके जान पहचान वाले हो सकते हैं, आपके यार दोस्त हो सकते हैं, शादी होने के बाद में बहुत सारे झगड़े हुए, एक दूसरे से मारपीट होने से लेकर तो बहुत कुछ हो गया, लेकिन वो साथ में रहे, डिवोर्स नहीं हुआ। उनको आप 40-50 में ऑब्जर्व कीजिएगा, इतने लंबे गैप से ऑब्जर्व कीजिएगा, वो गुस्सेल व्यक्ति शांत प्रवृत्ति का हो जाता है, मेल पर्टिकुलर। और फीमेल जो होती है, वो जो बहुत सबमिसिव होती है, वो बाद में डोमिनेंट हो जाती है। ये ऑब्जर्वेशन के आधार पर आप समझ सकते हो। So shall I end this meeting? So I hope you people don't have a question. So I will end this meeting.